Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with a couple nerds.
I'm Ted.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we'll be talking about StarFinder.
If you want to jump down to the description below, you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So I would like to historically call people's attention to the video you guys did about with Scott about the potential of a second edition Pathfinder, and a little segment we were talking about. I think they'll probably go into the science fiction fantasy.
Well, we said other genres.
Yeah.
Science fiction being one of them.
Came up.
And Scott Garrity went even further to say it should be its own role-playing game.
Right. Yeah.
And bam, he nailed it. StarFinder.
Yeah. So like 3 to 4 months, because the discussion that come up, or the concern is like they can't do a completely new edition of Pathfinder because then they disenfranchise the people they got of the conversion from 3rd edition or 3.5 to 4th edition.
Right.
And so
sure, but there's plenty of people that came in after that, and Pathfinder was just their first game.
Right, their first love, their first girlfriend or boyfriend.
So there's a lot of cool things. You know, first of all, it's going to be mostly backwards compatible, is what they're saying.
Right. There's some things that I said there's going to have to be some conversion if you want to, play or use.
Right, because like you're going to have the SDC and Mega SDC conversions, that kind of stuff I think is going on.
They said the armor system is going to be completely different. Humans are the only core race that are actually going to, travel over.
Yeah, and then they're...
oh, no, they mentioned dwarves, too, though. Like,
no, well, they do.
They mentioned them, but they said that of the core races, human is the only one that's moving forward.
Yeah, like, they're going to put rules in for adapting the other races or whatever, but they're not going to be like the core rules. Like, there's going to be a rat people, there's going to be androids. So
there's some race that, at least one race in the core, will not be the traditional humanoid model. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Who knows what that is? What that's even going to look like? Maybe that's.
They're just going to bring back the Eberron Calistar or whatever, the ones that basically just inhabit a new body.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be it.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
So we're going to have planetary vehicles. We're going to have starships, faster than light travel. One of the things they did is actually kind of cool and is a good idea. Is they made sure that they're using the Pathfinder system for the most part, and they're using kind of like the Pathfinder like lore, but at the same time they're keeping them separate.
Because they jumped so far enough ahead, and also too that there's Galactic Amnesia about what happened to
which is really cool.
The home world that Pathfinder takes place on. It kind of up and disappears.
Well, and they do it for. One of the reasons for doing it is they don't
not invalidate the entire history of people playing the game right now.
Well, no, it's not that. Like it's actually cooler than that. They don't want you to be able to read about in StarFinder what happened, in Glorian 1,000 years ago, so that so that it can. So it's not. So it's to get rid of spoilers, kind of.
The way that I read it was saying that if you're playing Pathfinder and playing StarFinder, that you can't take your character in StarFinder and search for your character from Pathfinder and find out how his story ended.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought it was cool and cheesy at the same time.
It's a space-time anomaly. Yeah.
So they said the God system is going to be different. Magic is actually taken a lower tier. Why would you cast Fireball when you can have a Fireball rifle?
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty interesting...
And they introduced an AI god, so that's kind of cool.
Well, yeah, an AI god is where the faster than light speed, light travels come from. The primary StarFinder book will focus on the Glorian galaxy, but then the idea is to bridge out. They already have one adventure path planned now. So Nerdarchy isn't like a huge Pathfinder,
I played some Pathfinder Society and like the first book of Kingmaker and some other like random sessions of it.
You ran Pathfinder for us for a little while.
I mean, but it was a heavily hacked to accommodate 3rd edition 3.5 Articles of Dark Sun, so it was a very like ragtag anomalous version. But that being said, like just so many numbers and books.
So we're not huge fans of Pathfinder. But I'm actually kind of excited what Paizo's doing here. I like the fact that they're branching out into sci-fi and they're doing something interesting. You know, I like the fact that they're making it science fantasy and not science fiction, which is a great move. I think it's a good move for their company. They need to do something different because otherwise you kind of have like D&D and Pathfinder going neck and neck, and I feel like D&D is going to start surpassing.
Yeah, you know, I just had an interesting thought on this. Well, maybe it's not that interesting, but I'll share it anyway. So maybe part of the calculation, because I'm sure, so in the sources we read, that this has been a discussion within Paizo for some time. They didn't just start with these ideas. They've been in development. But maybe the timing seems right, because I haven't looked into this setting a lot, but isn't Will Wheaton's Titan's Grave very also science fantasy? And
yes,
it's very popular, and this seems like a good time to announce such a thing.
Well, that too, and it's like, you know, maybe, you know, eventually, you know, like every game, every
you
company,
do have to branch out.
You got to infuse something new in there.
Yeah.
You got to breathe some fresh life into it.
Right.
And this is what they're using, and it's a good idea. I know our friend Louis Porter Jr. is very excited.
Tap
about
dancing,
it.
probably tap dancing, because Louis Porter Jr. has been doing this stuff for like the last decade, like that sort of very like science fantasy sort of
science fantasy comic books. You know, he's been mashing things in the Pathfinder for a
he's
while.
more modern and beyond than he is fantasy, right?
Yes, I mean that's his leanings, absolutely. So they're talking about organized play. You know, they're not. It's not.
They'd like to do it.
It's not definite yet.
They'd like to do it, but the people they have doing organized play for the Pathfinder, they're scheduled out. They really don't have any more time, so they're looking into ways of either getting more or.
I feel like they better figure it out. Like they need to do the organized play.
They need the player support type of situation.
Yeah, to get, especially because Pathfinder players are primarily going to be used to playing medieval fantasy, so they're going to need they might need a little push.
Well, and then also too, the biggest thing about Pathfinder Society, it's not just what's happening in your local gaming stores. The idea of Pathfinder Society is that you can go to any convention across the country and play in these special events. And like that's a big incentive thing, that like you get access to like special boons within the game that for going to like Dragon Con or WonderCon or whatever that are specific to that convention, which gets people to attend. So it's kind of like they're going to eventually want to engender that for StarFinder as well.
Well, there's that, which is, but I think from just the standpoint of being able to take it for a test drive, like you're on the fence. You don't know if you want to buy the $60 book or not, but if you can sit down at the table and roll some dice.
Well, I wonder if they do like an SRD sort of model, then you do have access to all the things. It just, you would have to have access to Wi-Fi to... Or actually, no, there's probably even some publications that you can get it offline as well.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Like, if they go with the same models they have, they probably will. But, that's not quite the same as playing the game with people and sitting at the table.
But I'm saying it mitigates the $60 investment of the book.
It does.
Because you don't have to buy the book. You just have to have dice, or borrow someone else's.
But you still need to play.
Yeah, no, you
need people to play.
You definitely need the peoples to play the game.
Yeah, having the chance to sit down and play it, allows you to make the choice easier.
Leap. Yeah.
So, they say they're going to draw heavily from some sources that I think some of you guys may have heard of, like Star Wars, Alien, Firefly, Shadowrun, the Saga comics, the Hyperion series. So, there's definitely some cool things they're going to reference for coming up with their ideas for this game. I'm sure the art is going to be fantastic. And that's also another reason why they wanted to go with a more science fantasy over science fiction. They just feel like, you can do cooler stuff.
Right. Yeah. If you're relying on just technology, that's all you've got. If you've got technology and the fantastic, you're going to have cooler things.
Well, and also, too, it lets you not get as bogged down in, like, explaining the meta-science of how everything actually works, which I imagine if you're playing something closer to a Star Trek game, there's a lot more considerations as far as that goes.
And who wants to do that?
Well, I'm certain there's people out there that do, but...
Yeah.
None of us. I mean, one of the reasons why we prefer other games over Pathfinder is because we like the rules light aspect.
Absolutely.
Over the crunch aspect. It's just a play style choice, really.
So, Is there anything else that we want to talk on here? I printed out all the articles that I could find on it.
Yeah, Ted went and did all.
Gave us a Cliff's Notes.
Yeah, he was the Cliff Notes on stuff. Throughout the week, I've been looking at stuff. Lewis Porter Jr. has done several videos on it. Dawnforge Cast, Andrew has done a video on it. So yeah, the industry is definitely buzzing, especially in the third party publishing sector.
There's definitely been some. Yeah, I guess one thing I want to mention is there's definitely been some references that make it sound a little 40K-ish when they're talking about like mech suits, power armor.
Yes.
Like I feel like the laser sword thing is going to be a thing here.
Chainsaws, laser swords.
Yeah, chainsaw, laser swords. That's Space Marine type of situation. I hope so. So I did kind of love Cheliax as a faction. Like they're this very like connection to demons sort of faction that's available in Pathfinder Society, and so like they're talking about like having like space Hell Knights and things like that, which is really cool. So that's kind of
that was actually the section that I was looking for, like flying Hell Knight flying dwarven citadels, and then also. The Hell Knight destroyers or battleship destroyers or something. It just sounded really cool.
So it says, at the same time, we want StarFinder to be focused outward on new planets, creatures, and cultures rather than just putting a futuristic skin on everything we've already done. And having space Cheliax fighting laser Andorans, so we're moving Galorion. We're pointing both authors and players outward towards new worlds.
Okay, I might have read what I wanted, and it's the complete opposite of what I just said. Well, like the laser swords and power armor are a thing. Oh yeah, not so much with Space Cheliax, because I did kind of want Space Cheliax.
Wait, give me my space Cheliax. They talk about Absalom, the space station basically being like across somewhere between Babylon 5 and the Death Star in size. So that's cool. I'm digging all the references.
I think it's really cool. They've got some planets that they're going to have established and give you information on, but then say, look, it's a galaxy out there. You can fill it with whatever you want. So I think it's a great way of being able to say, let's take home worlds that you guys want to create, and you can go back and forth between those things and the things that we've already created if you want. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a universe of possibilities.
And they're talking about the first day of the book was going to be around 400 pages, but then they bumped
520.
They bumped it way up to 520. So they're definitely. Is this what I was looking for? No, that's not what I was looking for at all.
You're looking for the Dwarven Space Citadel, right?
Yeah, it's in there. It's in here somewhere. There's so many pages, and Ted's copy is so small to print.
So some ideas thrown out include Hell Knight Citadel Star Destroyers, Dwarven Star Citadels, cathedrals using plane shift to move intergalactic.
Okay, there's
here's
sweet stuff there.
Then there's also the line. Now I find, of course, after you say it, you son of a monkey's uncle. And then they one of the things too. Where is it at? Oh, holy power armor, not just power armor. Holy,
but blessed by whomever
gotta have
exists.
Holy power armor. So like I said, I'll probably even pick this game up. I don't even care. There's a lot of numbers and stuff in there, but I'll take a look at it.
We can certainly check it out.
Or one shot it at some point, perhaps.
We'll make Scott run it.
Yeah, it's no doubt.
I almost feel like I almost wish he was here for this video. He told me that he shot a video and then didn't post it because he felt like it was too negative. Because he feels like Pathfinder or Paizo isn't taking any risks here and they're playing it safe, which I totally agree with him. But to that I say, that's pretty much their business model from the beginning.
They took a popular IP and made it their own, but essentially, I mean, it's 3.75 Dungeons and Dragons, so that is risk averse.
They never did anything like that, and it's fine. It's okay. It's worked for them. They've built a brand on it and a game that's very popular. Well, and a lot of people enjoy,
and they put their own visual aesthetic to it, like having Wayne Reynolds be their primary guy who designed a lot of the look and feel of the game. Like it has its own visual stamp, but at the same time, to say it's something completely new and different,
no, not really. Well, and that was my point. I was like, what did you expect?
Yeah.
They've never done anything kind of risky as far as what they've put out. It's always been, adding on what was done before.
Hey, you know what though? Like, they did do something very risky in like a lot of the writing of their modules, like. NPCs are a lot of times considered bisexual by default. They were the first RPG publisher, well, the first major publisher, like tallest midget level like major publisher.
Yeah.
To have homosexual and transgender characters like prominently featured and blatantly put out there, like they're so I'm sure like small publishers, small press people might have done that, like independent people, but as far as a household name in RPGs, like Paizo Pathfinder was one of the first to do that.
Very cool.
So they've done something socially risky, could say that, not game mechanics wise, but socially risky.
Yeah, and business wise, it's been pretty like they've stayed with the proven model.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have any reactions to that, if anybody else is going to be eager to play a science fantasy Pathfinder game, let us know in the comments below, or StarFinder, I should say. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us at nerdarchy.com.
And while there, don't forget to check out the store. Get some sweet swag and digital products.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.